Hey everyone, this is Nicole from Kenhub, and welcome to this Kenhub Histology tutorial where we will be discussing the reticular connective tissue. So as you're probably already aware, connective tissue is the collective term for the many types of tissue that serve to maintain the body's form and structure. Without it, you just fall apart. Let's begin with an overview and a look at the images we'll be using to help us understand reticular connective tissue. In this tutorial, we'll first take a look at what reticular connective tissue is, the various components it's made up of, the locations in the body where it may be found, and finally, its functions. The image shown here is the histological section of an activated lymph node stained with hematoxylin and ASN, or H&E. A lymph node is described as activated when it displays changes associated with inflammatory processes occurring somewhere in the body, such as an infection. We're looking at a lymph node because it's a good example of an organ containing reticular connective tissue. Here we have some activated lymphoid follicles housing B lymphocytes getting ready for combat. If we jump over to this part of the activated lymph node, we can see some sinuses. The subcapsular sinus, just here, running beneath the capsule of the lymph node, and a trabecular sinus, which can be seen just here, through which the lymphatic fluid flows. Increasing the magnification allows us to see a little bit more detail, and here again we see the activated lymphoid follicles, and here we have some sinuses. Throughout the lymph node, including within the lumina of the sinuses, runs the reticular connective tissue, which is what we are particularly interested in right now. To get a closer look at it, we'll zoom in on the highlighted area. So if you remember those sinuses we pointed at, this is one of them just here. So now that we've orientated ourselves a little, let's move on to the rest of the tutorial. So the first question we want to ask is, what is reticular connective tissue? Reticular connective tissue is a mesh-like network of fibrous tissue. Unlike most tissues, the cells in connective tissue are not necessarily directly bound together and instead can be some distance apart, separated by extracellular matrix. As with all connective tissue, reticular connective tissue is composed of a cellular component, which consists of reticular cells and mesenchymal stem cells, fibers known as reticular fibers, and ground substance. It's worth noting that other cell types may be present depending on the organ in question, for example, lymphocytes attached to reticular fibers in lymph nodes. We're now going to explore each component of reticular connective tissue individually. The first of these we'll look at are the reticular cells. In the image, we can see the general fibrous appearance of the reticular fibers. The multi-lobed nuclei of granulocytes can also be observed here. Reticular cells, on the other hand, have a single nucleus, and they're similar to fibroblasts in function and are interspersed throughout the reticular connective tissue. They can often be seen hanging around junctions of reticular fibers and produce collagen, which forms the reticular fibers. The reticular cell membrane extends and encapsulates the fibers. This is important as this allows other cell types to interact with the fibers via the reticular cell membrane.
This video is not over yet. Continue watching now the full video at kenhub.com. We have lots more videos like this one available to our premium members on our website, not to mention all the fun quizzes, related articles, and atlas sections. So click on the button in the middle to watch the full-length video and master anatomy.